take the issue of the cost of living, and I'm just going to talk about cost of living in more general terms, of course, of which public transport is but one component. As much as many of us, obviously not all of us in here, are sitting here really getting by, there is a very significant segment of the Singapore population that is hurting, that is under tremendous financial pressure. I say this because we come into contact with them as we get onto the ground. We have members in our party who are of that segment. I know of at least one person who's 81 years old, has a 79-year-old wife who's incapacitated, a 59-year-old daughter who's disabled, and he works as a security guard 60 hours a week. The norm is 44 hours. An 80-year-old working 60 hours a week gets paid $1,000 a month. That's the reality. That's the reality of this high, very modern, very rich Singapore. And I just want, as privileged as all of us here are, never to stop thinking that there are people out there who need a voice. As ministers pay themselves $4 million a year, there are people that who can't get by. There is the shop and save close to where I live. If you go to it, say about 24 hours, if you go at about 11 in the night, you see a whole horde of ladies in the 60s and the 70s just standing waiting outside the cashier line. And what are they doing? They're waiting for you to collect those stamps, which you might not want. They can collect those stamps and exchange them for food. They can go in there and purchase it for whatever groceries that they want to get. This, to me, is a system gone mad. When you have ministers paying themselves 30 months bonuses, and you leave people starving, homeless in the streets.
But perhaps you could tell us what is the SDP's proposal to overcome this? Because this is a situation it's not.
What we need is to allow a system whereby there can be a free debate. People say, yeah, but democracy won't put food on the table, will it? Let's think again. If you haven't got a free democratic system, how are people going to be able to represent this disenfranchised, get into parliament, ensure that there are policies, ensure that the policies such as minimum wage, which we're advocating, retrenchment benefits for people who suddenly find themselves out of no fault of their own, out of a job, but your bills continue to pile up, and you don't have any money to pay them. So these are some of the things that we can do. But before we can get into parliament, we need a system which will enable voters to have this informed choice, cast votes for the candidates and the parties that advocate for them on a free and fair basis. That's what we're talking about. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, we're talking about transport, but anyway. I'm just a bit surprised because, I feel for the people that Dr. Chee has mentioned, and there is help and assistance out there. And I'm not going to cover the transport specifically, but generally, I think the answer, as you well know, the PAP's position is that targeted assistance is the best position and the best help that we can give. And there is targeted assistance for all the cases that Dr. Chee has mentioned. All they need to do is come forward. I'm just a bit surprised because, after giving us those accounts that he did, his solution is, let's talk about it. That is not the solution. The solution is out there. The targeted assistance is available. I don't want to go through the whole suite because, you've just gone through the budget, you're aware of it. But the targeted assistance is available. What we don't want to see, what the PAP doesn't want to see, is to have across the board subsidies of public transport and other things where people who don't need them benefit from them. So we prefer to target the assistance that is available.
I'd just like to close by just addressing the point that Mr. Palmer made. That the PAP doesn't want a across-the-board subsidy for people who don't need those subsidies, but you're doing it for ministers, right? They don't need. I fail to see how one person or one family can need more than $50,000 after a little while. The zeros that you add onto the end of your salaries become quite meaningless. Now, this is where I want to bring up to this point again. When our young Singaporeans, and just the point that I had raised at the beginning of this forum, as long as we are unable to participate in the public process, as long as young Singaporeans are going to continue to feel the sense of alienation, we are not going to be able to build a nation. We are going to be able to have this very rich economy, very expensive looking, very modern, high-tech looking society. But we will never be able to call ourselves a nation, never be able to call ourselves a people. Thank you.